Nachira banachari Yamuna Chira banachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nityago Haribo Haribo Nityago Haribo Nityago Nityago Haribo Haribo Nityago Haribo Nityago Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivrakracharya Sutrasrasi Srimad Hesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupa Paramahansa Parivrakacharya Stotrasrasa Shima Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, ISKCON Fondacharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Se Kausi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta ki, Se Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Dwarka Dham ki, Jagannath Dham ki, Ganga Maya Minamaya ki, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki, Nitai Gaurachanda ki, Sri Krishna Balaram ki, Shada Samasunda ki, Hainam Sankirtan ki, Nitai Gopi Manandi. All glory to the assembly devotees, all glory to the assembly devotees, all glory to the assembly devotees, all glory to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. Om Jnana Timiranda Shagana Gana Salakaya Chaksu Sumrita Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtan Stapita Yena Bhutale Sayarupa Kadamanya Dadati Sampadantikam Vandiyam Sri Guru Shutan Padakamalan Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sagyata Sagana Raghunata Pitanta Sajivan Sadhuitan Sabhadutan Parijana Saitan Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devan Sri Radha Krishna Padasahagana Lalita Sri Vishakavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radha Brindaneswari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Panamami Hari Priyam Vanchakapatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Namamo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nibisesa Sunyavadi Pashtadeshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Anandalila Maya Vigraya Himabadavi Chavisundaraya Tasma Mahaprema Rasapadaya Chaitanya Chandaya Namastate. So I thank everyone for being here this evening for our Bhagavad Gita class. We have moved from Prabhupada's house to here. Actually, it's much intimate over there at Prabhupada's house. Somehow, the management decided to move to Balaram Hall. And of course, Balaram Hall, it has more people. So, endless Krishna Katha. So, this is, are they putting the verse on top? Huh? The verse on top? Okay. So, we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text number 9. And number 9 on the, 8 or 9? I was given 9 number. 8? Yeah, I was told 8, 9. Okay, so I just read 8 then. Yeah, they told me 9, so that's why. Sometimes there's always some kind of confusion. Okay, we read the 8 then. Niyata kuru kama tvam kama jayo yakamana sarira yatrapi chate na prasidhyeda kamana nayatam kuru kamatvam karma jayaya kamana sarira yatapi chate na prasidhyeda kamana nayatam kuru kama yatvam karma jyoya kamanam sarira yatrapi chate na prasadhyeda kamanaha. Some chant comes. Mataji, somebody? Jagnata, oh, sorry, that's text 9. Ne yatam prescribed, kuru, do, karma, duties, tvam, you, karma, work, jaya, better, he, certainly, akamanaha, than no work, sarira, bodily, yatra, maintenance, api, even, cha, also, te, your, na, never, prasidyate, is effected, akamanaha, without work. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. Purport. There are many pseudo-meditators who misrepresent themselves as belonging to high parentage, and great professional men who falsely pose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender. Rather, the Lord desired that Arjuna perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously without purification of materialistic propensities. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others. So this chapter is dealing with karma yoga. Karma, of course, means actions, activities that we perform. So the activities that we perform, normally it determines our destiny, what our destiny is going to be. Just like as we have studied the laws of karma, that whatever you do, whatever you sow, you shall reap. You reap what you sow. That's the common understanding. So which means in this material world, there is no accident. Everything, whatever happens, happens because there is something underlying. There's an action preceding that. So everything that we are currently, experiencing, this is all a reaction of previous karmas. So what we sow shall we reap. Every cause, every cause has got something behind it. So that is the reality of the material world. It's just like sometimes there may be a plane accident or a train accident. Like, for example, there was one plane accident that fell from the sky. Everyone died except one person. And that person did not even have injury. Just imagine, the plane fell from the sky. Everyone else died, including the pilots, everybody, passengers. Only one person survived it without injury. So, one will say, how come this person, only one person survived this accident and everybody else died? Are we ready to blame God for that? Then why is it that God saved this person and let everybody else die? So what kind of, God is that? God is not a fair God. It's not a just God. He pick and choose. That's people's understanding, When bad things happen, we want to blame God for it. However, when good things happen to us, we don't give credit to God. We don't give credit to God. We say, maybe my own luck or my own actions, my own endeavors has brought about this, good situation for me. But the moment any bad things comes, we start blaming God. That, why me? Why me? Why this happened to me? This is, of course, this is all due to ignorance. Because of ignorance, which is the very foundation of material existence, the ignorance. So therefore, we just act whimsically based on the whatever reactions that comes to us. But karma is there. Whatever we do, we get the results. What we'll do. We do good, we get good results. And if we do bad, we get bad results. Just like there was one king, I think it was King Niriga. So this king, he had performed so many pious activities. Performed so many pious activities. He was very liberal in giving charity to the Brahmins. Every day, he would give cows, hundreds and thousands of cows to Brahmins. Every day. And then, one time, one of the cows, which he had given to many Brahmins, so one of the cows moved to the camp of another Brahmin that have received the cow. So the one who originally received the cow, he became angry, and he went to this other Brahmin who have received the cow. He said that, oh, this is my cow. Why are you taking it? And then there was argument between the two. The other fellow also became angry. So they went to the king. That, what have you done? The king said, well, I don't know. I didn't, I did not do this. But I'm ready to compensate for it. I'm ready to give each of you hundreds of more cows. But still, these Brahmanas, they were not pacified. They went away angry. They were not pacified. So this king, at the end of his life, Yamaraj told him that, look, you have performed so many pious activities, and heavenly planet is waiting for you. But you committed one mistake. And this mistake, you will have to suffer for it. And of course, the suffering for it is very minor, but you have to take a birth. I think as a lizard or something like that. You have to take a birth as a lizard. And then when you finish with that, then you can go enjoy in the higher planet. So the king was given a choice that either you suffer first and enjoy later, or enjoy first and then suffer later. So the king said, well, let me first suffer for my mistake, and then I can go to the higher planet where I will live for millions of years. So in this case, this person, this king, he became a lizard. But fortunately for him, he became a lizard in Dwarka. Because one time, Lord Krishna's children, they were wandering about, and they saw a well, and they saw a very big lizard, huge lizard. And they tried to fish it out, but they were unable because the lizard was so big. So, and then they called Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna came, and then he extended his hand, he took it inside the well, and he brought out this lizard. And then, of course, immediately the lizard gave up the body, and it became a demigod's, body. It became like a transcendental, a nice body. But of course, because this person has been touched by Lord Krishna, so he actually attained liberation because the Lord touched his body. So basically, all our actions, precipitated by the whatever result we get, there's a reaction there. There's a common action to all the reactions. So we should not be blaming God that, oh, why this is happening to me. We should not be blaming God. God has nothing to do with karma. Karma is our own creation. We create it. We create the karma, and then we enjoy the result, or we enjoy the result, whether good or bad. We enjoy the result. There was another story one time. There was a guru who told his disciple to go and bring firewood. Because similarly in the Vedic time, every morning the guru, they perform fire sacrifice every morning. And disciples normally will go and bring the wood. So this particular morning, the guru told the disciple that to go and bring firewood because I want to perform fire sacrifice. So disciple went. He went all over, and he came back without the wood. He told the guru that I could not find any wood. I could not find any wood. I went all over, I could not find any wood. So the guru said, you could not find any wood? Whatever it is, you must bring the wood. Even if you have to go to the earliest planet, you must bring the wood to me. So the disciple, he went, and listening to the guru said that when the guru said that if you have to go to the earliest planet, you must bring the wood to me. So the disciple went to the earliest planet. He went to the earliest planet and to meet Yamaraj. So he met Yamaraj and told Yamaraj that his guru had sent him to bring the wood because he has to perform fire sacrifice. So therefore I've come to you here because here you are busy burning people, so you must have a lot of wood here. So therefore give me some wood so that I can take to my guru. So Yamaraj said that, what makes you think that we have wood here? We don't have wood here. So the disciple was surprised. He said, what do you mean you don't have wood here? How do you burn people who come here to the earliest planet? How do you burn them? So Yamaraj said, no, we don't have wood. Here, people when they are coming here, they bring with them their own wood with them. They bring the wood with them, and it's their own wood that we use that to burn them. That's what Yamaraj said. He said, no, we don't keep wood here. People bring wood themselves. So basically, Yamaraj is saying, essentially said that people are consumed by their own activities. People are consumed by their own activities. So we should start to. So therefore, the law is saying here about the karma that yes, everyone has to perform their duty. Everyone has to perform their duty, and by doing such duty, then, of course, the law says here that one is able to maintain one's physical body, because without performing any work, it's impossible to maintain body. As like Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, that one should not unnecessarily undertake premature renunciation. Because sometimes when we find the world, so everything is so difficult, so, sometimes we cannot find the way out, and then we try to take to the path of renunciation, sannyas. So whimsical sannyas is never recommended. Just because everything is difficult, let's say you're a householder and you're having so much trouble with your wife, and you say, oh, okay, I'm just going to take sannyas. I'm just going to take sannyas there. That is whimsical. Many, many times in the beginning of our movement, in the early days, we find so many men, they took sannyas because they find the household life so difficult. So they took sannyas, even though they were very, very young. But it's our common knowledge that such sannyasis do not last. I will say 99% of such sannyasis, collapse. Because a sannyas is never meant to be done whimsically. As a matter of fact, according to the scriptures, who takes sannyas? The person who takes sannyas is a person who has developed attachment to Lord Krishna, who has developed attachment and is relishing, a relationship with the Lord. And when such relations become very, very deep, and when the separation from the Lord is becoming very unbearable, the person automatically takes sannyas out of the development of love of God. So therefore, only those who have attained Krishna Prem, they are the one who actually automatically take sannyas. I mean, they are automatically sannyasi. They don't. It's not that they have to advertise. They have to do a big show that I am becoming sannyasi. No, it's something that is very, very automatic. That sannyasi is born out of the love of the Lord. That such sannyasi is born out of the love. So therefore, the scriptures do not recommend such renunciation, such a whimsical renunciation. So because when Arjuna, when he was saying that maybe this fighting is very difficult, I'm going to have to kill all my relatives, my grandfather, my uncle, and my gurus, cousins, friends. Everyone is gathered here in the battlefield. Everyone is ready to fight. So Arjuna, seeing this, he said, why should I do this? Kill everyone. This is not good. So therefore, he told Krishna that I think I'm just going to go to the forest. I will take sannyas. I become a sannyasi. I'm just going to go to the forest. Because, this is not good. What is this? This fighting. And then we fight. Everybody died. And then we get the kingdom. We cannot enjoy the kingdom because everyone is dead. So what is the value of fighting for a kingdom and then you cannot really enjoy because all the people that you are supposed to enjoy the kingdom with, they are gone. The grandfathers, the sons, everything, they are gone. So what's the value of the kingdom? You have a big house and then you're just sitting in the house by yourself. It doesn't give any pleasure. Life is meant to be enjoyed in the association of others. So therefore, Arjuna, he said, he told Krishna that I'm going to take sannyas, I'm going to go to the forest, But Krishna said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot give up your duty. The work must be done. You have to perform your duty. You cannot give it up. Actually, in the next verse, which is text number 19, which I actually prepared for it today. So Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Jagannatha kamana yatra, lokoyam kamabandhana, tadata kamakunteya, mukta sangha samachara. This is Lord Krishna told Arjuna, which is much better, whereby how we can perform our actions and at the same time be very, very blissful out of performing our actions. And what is that bliss? Jagannatha Kamana, that yes, if we perform actions for the satisfaction of Vishnu, because he's Jaga. Jaga Vishnu is the Jaga, is the sacrifice. So if action is performed for his satisfaction, then, as the Lord says, it actually paved the way for liberation. I just read the translation. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in the material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So the Lord says, Anyatra lokoya kamabandhana. This is what the Lord says in this verse, that other activities that one may perform, it creates bondage in the material world. Which means if you want to perform activities that is not meant to please the Lord, then it creates bondage in the material world. And what is bondage? Bondage means the repetition of birth and death. It's a cycle. One birth after another birth. And in varieties of species of life. So therefore, the Lord said that you have to perform actions for the satisfaction of Vishnu. For the satisfaction of Krishna, you have to perform the actions. If you do that, then there'll be no entanglement. There'll be no entanglement in the material world. So that's why when devotees, when they are performing the activities, even though it's the same activities that everyone is performing in the material world, but because the devotees, they are performing activities for the pleasure of Lord Krishna, of the Lord, so therefore they are not affected by any reactions because they don't see themselves as the enjoyer of those activities. They don't see themselves as the enjoyer. Whereas everyone in the material world, everyone sees themselves as the recipient of their particular activities. They see themselves as the recipient of the result of the activities. There is something which was written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this respect. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Niskam means which means desireless work, desireless activities. Niskam, desireless. So we are supposed to perform niskam. We perform action, but niskam means desireless kam. Because if you perform desireless activities, then you will not be bound by it. Whereas what you get transcendental pleasure because you are doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna. So niskam, Kama Yoga, that which is offered to the Supreme Lord is called jaga. That which is done as a form of sacrifice. Apart from this, all other karma, action, is a cause of bondage. Everything you do this world is a cause of bondage. So you have to understand this very well. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. Perform all your prescribed responsibilities for the purpose of doing jaga, sacrifice. Whatever is done to fulfill your own selfish desires, even if offered to Bhagavan, is a cause of bondage. Because just like sometimes we say that, oh, I'm hungry, I want to eat something, and then, okay, let me just offer it to God first. Let me offer it to Krishna, and then I can eat. So basically, the underlying principle is for one's own enjoyment. Even though one wants to make the offering, one may offer it to God first, but the underlying principle is for one's own satisfaction. So which means you are not making the offering for the pleasure of the Lord. You are simply, it's like, just doing something, just maybe as a show or something. But the principle is that, yes, I want to enjoy this, but let me just offer it first, so that it's not entirely sinful activities. But still, such actions, such activities is a cause of bondage. It does not free you from the reactions, because the motivation is sense gratification, self-satisfaction. That is the motivation. So therefore, according to our Acharya, so Srila Rupa Goswami said, Aya bila sita sunya gyana kama dhyana britam, anu kuyana Krishna no silana bhakti uttama, that yes, one should not perform Aya bila sita sunya, that Gyana Karma, that one should not perform activities. One should perform activities without desire for karma, the result, or gyan. One should perform activities only for the sole purpose of satisfying Krishna, for the sole purpose of satisfying the Lord. I know Krishna knows. Krishna no means what pleases Krishna, what will make Krishna happy. And this activities is called bhakti. Bhakti is those activities which are entirely meant for the sole purpose of satisfying the Lord, of giving pleasure to the Lord. This is desireless action. Now, it's whatever is done to fulfill your own selfish desires, even if offered to Bhagavan, is a cause of bondage. Be free from the desire to enjoy the fruit of action and offer the fruits of karma to him. So this type of karma is actually the practice, sadhana of bhakti yoga. This is the essence of bhakti yoga. This is the whole essence of bhakti yoga, which means bhakti means the devotional service. So devotional service, it means, especially when the yoga is there, which means it brings one to God. It's a connection to God. That's what bhakti yoga means. And this is the whole what's been pointed out here. So throughout this chapter 3 and chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord it talks very extensively about niskam yoga, niskam karma, which means the desireless actions. Desireless action. That yes, we have to perform actions, we have to perform activities, but those activities should be done without desire. Now, of course, when we say without desire, it means without our own personal desire, but our desire should be how to please Krishna, because we cannot be void. We are not preaching voidism. Nirvana, no desire, no nothing, be empty, is it? So the Buddhists, they preach nirvana, emptiness. That yes, in order to be free from samsara, we have to become nothing. We have to become empty, emptiness, total empty. Because once you become empty, then you can become nothing. You become nothing. You become totally void. Then, because no more actions, you become void, and then you attain eternal peace. But how can you ever become void? How can you become empty? It's just another, craziness that you can become. You can never become empty. The fact that you even say, I. So the ego is there. So when you're saying, I want to become empty, and you are mentioning that word, I. So the ego is there. So which means, it's like you don't know what you're talking about. You can never become empty. So the voidists or the Mayavadis, this is the idea, because everything in the material world is so troublesome, so therefore they want to become empty, they want to become nothing. But the part of bhakti is not that. The part of bhakti is not to become empty. The part of bhakti is to perform the activities for the pleasure of satisfying the Supreme Lord. That's the part of bhakti. And that part of bhakti, as the great person, saintly person said, he said, Susukam Katumavanyan, he said what is that? Kevala Ananda Kanda is a part of bliss. Kevala Ananda Kanda, the part of devotional service to Krishna is a part of bliss. It's not a difficult part. If we simply learn how to render all activities for the purpose of satisfying the Lord, then we become happy. The happiness is there. But of course, when we say become happy, it's not that we are seeking happiness. It's not that we are performing activities so that I can become happy. No. We are seeking happiness for Krishna. We want Krishna to enjoy. And by seeing to the happiness of Krishna, automatically, the enjoyment comes to the performer. That comes, automatically. Because Krishna enjoys himself only with his devotees. That's Krishna. Krishna is not a selfish God. He enjoyed himself only with his devotees, and he saw the enjoyment that devotees get is even greater than what Krishna is getting. The bliss devotees relish when they stand to see the happiness of Krishna, and especially when Krishna is having his pastimes with the inhabitants of Vrindavan, like gopis, the gopas. So when the devotees, they tend to increase this happiness of Krishna. And the more they do that, the more they themselves, they become very, very blissful, very, very happy. So therefore, nothing can be compared to the joy, to the bliss of bhakti, the bliss of devotional service. As it's compared that the joy of bhakti, the bliss of bhakti is compared to an ocean. Whereas the joy of impersonal liberation, it's compared to just like a small, the hoof print of a calf, very small puddle of a calf, which is very, very tiny water. So how can you compare the tiny water to an ocean? It's there's just no comparison. So so this is what is being pointed out here in these verses of the Gita, that yes, do not perform selfish actions, but perform selfless actions. No one can exist in the world without performing any kind of action. Action must be there. But perform the action, perform selfish action. No, selfless action, and the selfless action is that action which is directed towards satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That will give you liberation. Mukta Sangha Samachara. This is the last line of this ninth verse. So I'm going to stop here. If there's any question or comment, you can. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
We know in Ayurveda that a person can be a combination of different doshas. So it can be Vata and Pitta combined. Yeah. Suppose a person is a little bit of Kshatriya and Vaishya, so a combination. Mm-hmm. What do you think his prescribed duties are?
For the Ayurveda?
No. If a person is both Vaishya and Kshatriya, a bit of both.
Okay.
What do you think his prescribed duties are?
Well, normally, according to the 4 divisions, a person can only belong to one of the four divisions. Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Sudra. And each one is known by their qualities. They will describe what is their quality. So, it's not that one can be a combination of both Vaishyas and Kshatriya. Now, there may be a time when, let's say it's a Kshatriya who's unable to perform his occupation. So, in the case of there may be emergency period, when the Kshatriya is unable to find the occupation of a Kshatriya, so he mentioned that the scriptures do allow the person can adopt other occupation. A Kshatriya can adopt the occupation of a Vaishya if in case of emergency. Like for example, a Brahman, if he's unable to to get the occupation of a Brahman, he can also take up the occupation of a Kshatriya. Just like Dronacharya, for instance. Dronacharya was a Brahman, but he became a Kshatriya. He was fighting on behalf of the Pandavas. So, this is due to emergency situations. If one is unable to find one's own occupation, then one can accept other occupations. So that is there that allowance is there in the Vedic culture, Vedic scriptures.
In accepting these other occupation, does he still remain a Brahmana, or does he become a Kshatriya?
No, according to his nature, which is Swadharma, it still remains that. Even though he may accept other occupations, but it still remains either Brahman or Kshatriya, it still remains that. Because when the emergency period is over, he comes back to his original occupation. That way. Only in terms of emergency, then there can be adoption of other occupation. In terms of emergency. Okay. Want to ask a question?
So can I ask then?
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, in Bhagavad Gita it is said that one can have the purification of himself by the process of doing his prescribed duties. But practically we see that in this real world, what is it? Is it the birth by which the person has been decided as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra or Vaishya, or is it his karmas by which he is decided? That is the number one question. And number two is how practical it is, because nowadays the person who is a Brahman is performing a duty of a Kshatriya. So it's all of a mixture of these things. So in that case, how the purification will take place?
Normally, the quality is based by quality, not by birth. How one determines who is a Brahman or Kshatriyas or Vaishyas student is by quality, not by birth. Of course, nowadays everything is corrupted, whereby we have people who say, okay, I'm a Brahman because my family is a Brahmin, or I'm a Kshatriya. This is just like you're a doctor. Does that mean that your son automatically become a doctor? He must go to university, but, Whereas if you said someone that I'm a doctor, if they ask you that, what is your qualification? Say, because my father is a doctor. So they're going to say that you are crazy. Nobody's going to trust their life unto you that way. So this is all due to artificial thing. So it's by qualification, not by birth. That's how the caste system is determined. But in the age of Kali, everything is completely upside down. And that's why there's so much problems in the world, so much confusion in the world.
So, but Arjun was Kshatriya by birth.
Yes.
So in Bhagavad Gita
he also got trained also.
So it is the birth and the karma, both are there.
Yes, because by being birth in that particular family, one has a greater chance to be a Kshatriya. One has a greater chance to be a Kshatriya.
It's his psychophysical nature which involves him into the work. For example, if he is a Brahman, so samo, damas, tapas, saucham is inbuilt into him.
But as I said, you still have to take the training. The training must be there. If there's no training, then no one is going to accept you based on your birth. The training must be there. The Pandavas, the Kauravas, they all went to the school of the Guru, Dronacharya, who gave them extensive training. So the training must be there. One cannot just say, okay, because I'm born in this particular family, so therefore I am that particular. No, the training must be there. Otherwise, it's just a disturbance in the society. It's just a disturbance in the society. In the history of the world, there has been many, in the history of the Vedic culture, there has been many kings who had to reject their own children, their own sons, because they find that their son is not qualified to take that role of being a Kshatriya. I think that King Bharat was such a person. No, you see, with Maharaj Dushyanta, he accepted Bharat Maharaj as his son, even though he has many sons. But he found that his sons, they are not qualified to rule. And Bharat, who happened to be born of Shakuntala, and I think it was not Shakuntala, it was, I forgot his mother. But Bharat, he has such a great quality that Dushyanta Maharaj adopted him as his son, and then he became the king. And then the whole of Bharatvarsa was named after him. So that yes, qualification must be there, not by birth.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So you wanted to ask a question? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, thank you Prabhuji for the wonderful lecture. Prabhuji, you told that one who is dependent on Krishna, he doesn't get affected by good or bad. Can you please explain it a bit in detail? We have heard it, but it's not clear.
Yeah, a devotee of Krishna who is performing activities for the sole purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord Krishna. So whatever comes, he's not bothered by any reactions. He's not bothered by anything, either good or bad. Just like our great Acharya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in one of his songs, in one of his prayer, he said, "My dear Lord," he said that my sons, who do I call my son? These sons is your servant. And my daughter, who do I call my daughter? My daughter is your maid servant. And who is my wife? My wife is your servant. And what is this house? This is your house. So therefore, anything that may happen, yeah, and what is me? I'm just a caretaker of this house. I'm just a caretaker. So being a caretaker, anything that happens, happiness, sorrow, good or bad, I'm not affected by it because I'm just a caretaker. So therefore I'm not affected. So a devotee, a real devotee of the Lord, is just simply performing his duty without bothering of what may be the result of such activities. So therefore the devotees, they always remain blissful in every situation. They always remain blissful. You know.
So Prabhuji, do they don't get affected from inside, or they do have this mentality that whatever happens with the Krishna's will? Because one part is maintaining the mentality and one part is inculcating it from inside.
It's automatically inside, because especially when you take out the process of chanting the holy name, so the bliss actually comes from inside, and it's a genuine feeling of devotees. They are genuine feeling. It's not that they're just pretending. A real devotee do not pretend. A real devotee of someone who has surrendered to Krishna do not pretend. It's everything about the pure devotee is genuine. So only those who are not real devotees, they make pretension, but then they don't get the real bliss of devotional service. They don't get the actual bliss. And, just like one time, Srila Prabhupada, the devotees, they observed Srila Prabhupada that he was feeling morose. So they asked Srila Prabhupada that, Srila Prabhupada, why are you looking morose? We say that you're looking unhappy. So Srila Prabhupada replied, well, you don't know what is spiritual happiness. You don't know what is a spiritual bliss. So that's why you're saying that. You know. Because sometimes, Krishna performs so many activities, especially with the gopis of Vrindavan. Sometimes maybe there may be some delay in the union of Krishnas and the gopis. And when there is such delay, so a devotee feels unhappy that, oh, why this delay? in Krishna having a union with his dear devotees. Why this delay? So therefore devotees feel and some kind of unhappiness. But such feelings is another form of bliss, because it's not materialist, it's not material distress. It's actually spiritual bliss. That way. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so thank you very much. It's 7 o'clock, almost 7 o'clock. So Srila Prabhupada ki Hare Krishna. Oh, after 7. Hare Krishna.